My Uncle Gleb was a prominent man, a hotel owner, but my mother spoke of him as a man with a very foul temper. Although he was her brother, she had disliked him since her youth, and after leaving her parents' home, she almost completely stopped communicating with him. So, I had only seen my uncle once in my life. Then, one day, news reached our family that Uncle had died. To be more precise, he had committed suicide. He jumped from the window of the very hotel he owned. Sunny Edge, it was called. We had never been to the Sunny Edge and never thought we would ever visit. This was quite expected. Firstly, my Uncle Gleb and I lived in different cities, and secondly, my family never had any desire to visit him. After my uncle's death, something unexpected happened for our family. The hotel now belonged to us. Uncle had willed it to my mother before his death. He himself had never had a family, but my mother was still surprised that he left his prized possession to her. They certainly hadn't been close or warm enough for such a gift. Must have lost his mind before he died. I once overheard a conversation between my father and mother not meant for my ears. He was always a bit off, but to take his own life. My mother replied, "Who knows what happened to him? Maybe an unhappy love affair," my father said. My brother had only one true love, a love for money and his child. Nothing else concerned him. Maybe he changed his outlook on life, my father objected. We'll never know that. No one really knows the reason. Gleb had no friends, only subordinates. And what do they say? That he wasn't feeling well before his death. And that he was very afraid of something. Slept poorly, drank a lot of coffee. So, a mental disorder, my father concluded. Could be. In any case, we should go there. See what's what. Transfer the documents to our name. Solve all the problems Gleb left unresolved. We agreed on that. We packed our bags. And a week later, we were in the neighboring city. At the hotel standing on a high hill. On the city outskirts. The hotel was proud and alone. And its name didn't lie. The windows were indeed flooded with warm, sunny light. It was terribly unusual to realize that an entire hotel now belonged to our family. Yes, not a five-star luxurious resort, but still quite pleasant and cozy. It's just a pity it was far from infrastructure. Uncle wanted the Sunny Edge to be close to nature. Here there were forests, a river, and a lake nearby. It smelled of fresh pine, cut grass, the nearby body of water and its damp silt. Hunting was permitted as entertainment in the local forest. And in the lake and the river you could swim on hot days, or go fishing in designated areas. A paradise for many tourists. Needless to say, we liked the place. We were discovering the Sunny Edge for the first time, and we immediately decided to stay for a while to enjoy it fully. Mostly, of course, I was the one enjoying, because my parents had to deal with lawyers, paperwork, and other bureaucracy. My mother immediately noted the few places in the building that needed repairs. Part of the facade was crumbling a bit, and several economy class rooms needed to be brought up to a decent standard, as, judging by their appearance, they were rarely used. However much Uncle tried to keep everything here in excellent condition, there were details he missed, especially in the last month of his life when he became overly distracted and frightened. My pedantic, perfectionist mother tackled even the smallest flaws in the hotel. So I saw my parents less than usual. This didn't bother me. At home, they were busy with their business too and often neglected me. I was already used to the lack of attention. Here, I enjoyed talking with the hotel staff, walking in the forest and by the river, and at the lake I even learned that they often fish drowned bodies out of it. They say legends circulate that real predatory mermaids live in the local waters. Hence the drowned victims. I was enchanted by this place, but soon began to notice some oddities. The hotel staff seemed somehow intimidated. There were always problems with electricity here. Light bulbs burn out, even though they were replaced recently. Sometimes even the wiring shorted, filling the corridors with acrid smoke. Thankfully, they noticed and fixed the problem in time. It happened in my room too. I was reading a book when the lamp above my head flickered and went out. Burned out again, I thought. But then it suddenly began to flicker convulsively without stopping. I pressed the switch and then I was a bit spooked. The light bulb didn't turn off. Continued to flash like crazy, with clicks and electrical crackling. Knowing about the electrical problems in this building, I ran out of the room to turn off the circuit breaker. Who knows what might happen? Once, a fire almost started in the corridor. But here's the interesting part. As soon as I left the room, the nasty crackling stopped. And peeking through the door, I saw the room plunged into darkness. The light bulb no longer flickered. The oddities didn't end there. Soon I learned that many of the maids here really dislike working in my uncle's main office. They clean there very quickly and run away. For them, it was like some kind of punishment. And they all, as one, insisted that the air in that office was somehow off. You go in there and immediately start to suffocate. That's when I myself became interested in Uncle's office. I kept wanting to somehow go there and check all these rumors surrounding his abode. And there were plenty among the staff. But I never found the time. Either it slipped my mind, or I urgently needed to do something else. Go somewhere, help with something. Or I was just resting, having fun, exploring the unfamiliar city or walking in the forest. And yet, one fine evening, I remembered my Uncle Gleb's office. The hotel was quiet then. There were no guests yet. My mother planned to resume the hotel's operation immediately after the repairs were finished. And when all the paperwork was completely sorted, only some workers came to the hotel to maintain it. Speaking of my parents, today some emergency happened to them, causing them to rush back to our hometown for a couple of days. They offered for me to come too, but I refused, deciding to stay here. They'd be busy, and I could entertain myself in my room. That day passed, however, like all the other days in this place. But at night, truly strange things began to happen. Around 2 in the morning, my sweet sleep was disturbed by a strange noise from above. I was surprised there were no guests after all. But then I felt as if scalded by boiling water, because directly above my room was the office of my late uncle. I got out of bed and, throwing on the first thing that came to hand, left my room. Uncle Gleb had strange taste. I often thought not that the entire interior of the hotel was tasteless, not at all. Many design solutions here I really liked, but there were also frankly strange ones. Finally, a massive wooden door with a bronze handle appeared. My uncle's office was right in front of me. I looked around. Oppressive silence filled the hotel. The light bulb behind me flickered a few times and then shone steadily again. I felt somehow uneasy. It seemed that when I opened the door, I would encounter something terrifying behind it, like a coffin in the middle of the office or Uncle Gleb himself, standing at the window with deep bags under his eyes, ready for the final jump of his life. I swallowed. My heart beat faster. It's just my imagination playing tricks. I calmed myself. I'll open the door, and there will be just an office. Just an office. A dead man's office, I mentally answered myself. I placed my hand on the handle. I forced myself to turn the handle. The door creaked viciously, as if it hadn't been opened for 100 years. The first thing that caught my eye was the outline of a chair, a massive wide desk and the silhouette of a person. I was stunned. He sat in the chair, convulsively writing something. I couldn't see his face in the darkness. Fumbling blindly, I found my mobile in my pocket and tried to turn on the flashlight, to finally convince myself that what I saw was merely an illusion, that there was no one at the desk. My body wouldn't obey me, couldn't even unlock the phone. The man sitting in the chair instantly stopped writing and sharply turned his head in my direction. He resembled a bulky, living shadow. Unimaginable fear instantly bound my whole being. I was covered in sticky, cold sweat. And yes, the maids were right. It really became hard to breathe. The air seemed to turn into chunks of hot, dusty cotton. The man moved again. A nasty creak from the chair pierced my ears. I froze, not ceasing my attempts with trembling hands to unlock the phone and finally turn on the flashlight. The screen lit up, and with it, the bright light of the flashlight illuminated the entire office. The back of the chair stood lonely against the wall, and besides me, there was no one else in the room. What a thing to imagine, I thought then. That's what I tried to calm myself with after what I saw. Or maybe it really was my imagination. I convinced myself of this and sat down at the desk to catch my breath. I lit the candle standing on it. Among the many scattered papers and documents, I found a small leather-bound notebook. I opened it and understood. It was Gleb's notepad. On one page was a list of products Uncle apparently planned to buy. On another, some phone numbers, some bills. On the next, again a list of products. Then came an entry dedicated to some Professor Sabitsky, about what he taught and when. This didn't interest me. I began flipping through stealthily, hoping to find something unusual in his notebook. I found it. Towards the end, Uncle's handwriting noticeably deteriorated, as if he were writing with a trembling hand. On one page was a list of products, but it was covered with uneven writing on top. She knows. She knows. She knows. The next page is blank. The next is filled with only one, but simply huge inscription. She is near. Another page frightened me quite a bit. Forgive me. Forgive me. Entry after entry. And all of it made absolutely no sense. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave. And similar entries filled another 10. 10, for God's sake, pages of his notebook. In indescribable shock from what I saw, I closed it and felt someone's presence very close by. I froze. Again, that sticky, nasty fear, like when I saw the man in the chair. I gulped and told myself mentally, now I will look up, and there will be nothing and no one in front of me, because I am alone here. It's just my imagination playing a cruel joke on me. I raised my eyes. I was mistaken. I met glassy eyes filled with blood. It was a woman resembling a corpse, white with cracked skin and dead eyes. Her clothes were covered in blood. Her nails were broken. She was all somehow unnatural, broken. Before my panic could take any form, the woman clenched icy fingers around my neck and deprived me of the ability to breathe. Tell him I remember, she hissed in my ear, and that was the last thing I heard. I lost consciousness. I woke up in the morning in my room. Was that a dream? I slowly got up from the bed and shuffled to the bathroom. No, it wasn't a dream. I was horrified to discover marks of strangulation on my neck. That same day, I packed my things and went back to my hometown, with the intention of never visiting that cursed place again. I swear, I had already resigned myself to never knowing the truth about that place, about what happened to me there. And I didn't try to find out. I was too scared. I was sure I would never learn the truth. But fate itself tossed it to me. This is about what our night watchman found in a ravine near the hotel. A bag containing that very girl. The girl turned out to be an orphan who begged on the city streets. She earned money with her voice, and it was horribly, beautifully lovely. One day, she caught the eye of my Uncle Gleb, and he allowed her to live and work in the hotel for free. But Gleb was never known for generosity of spirit. He took the orphan girl in for only one reason: to use her for his lustful purposes. That day, the girl was cleaning in the office of this scoundrel when suddenly he entered. He definitely wanted something from the young girl. Approaching closer, Gleb began to touch her hair, although he had never allowed himself such a thing before. And after the hair, his dry, rough hands felt her young body. Gleb made it clear what he wanted. And understanding there would be no reciprocity, he took the girl by force. She screamed and tried to break free. She even managed to, but what can a small, fragile orphan girl do against a healthy, strong man? She didn't manage to run out of the office. He caught up with her and locked the door. However it came to a horrible conclusion. Gleb, either accidentally or intentionally, killed the unfortunate girl and threw the bag with her corpse beyond the hotel grounds. Most likely, wild animals would quickly hide the traces of his crime. But he didn't know what this could lead to. He thought everything would be fine now. But she came for him from the grave and took him with her.